Boom. Let's roll. I'll put Click on some luggage. Okay. Let's get this show on the road. I made a decision today regarding this. 91 episodes in. Instead of getting the show started, like, welcome to the Daily B Show, I'm going to wait until everyone's on and then start it, because it's fucking a whole lot of the time lagging and we're just hanging out, just fucking pulling our, selves until technical difficulties come and go and people get logged in. So, that's what I thought and that's what I figured today. It only took me 91 episodes, but we got there. Yes. Jazzy LeBlanc, what's crack-a-lackin'? Yeah, man, it's pretty warm today up in Noosa, sunny Noosa. Where did this come to? Sunrise Beach is where specifically I'm at the moment. We are hanging out, doing a bit of a house sit, which is pretty cool. So we've got this beautiful big house that we're just hanging out at. We've got the beach, you can't really see it, but the beach is around the corner there as well. Come on in, Liv, come join the party. Got a good show for you guys. Me and beautiful Liv. Gonna get in some flow. Actually, I've had another thought today of sort of doing a bit of an experiment on how to get into flow, which we're going to chat about, and manifesting. There she is. Can you hear an echo?
An echo?
Yeah. No. Good. Me neither.
No, a little. Not bad.
Is it you that you can hear?
I can hear you clearly. No, not me.
Okay, cool. All right, sweet. Choice. Welcome to the Daily B Show with Linda Liv Doktar, rocking and rolling. Finally, third time lucky.
It's been an interesting ride.
Yeah, it took a while, but better late than never, that's for sure. And man, what a sort of funky sort of whirlwind it's been. Just our introduction to each other to start with, and then just our sort of comings and goings into each other's world from time to time. It's been pretty awesome.
Yes, it has. It's been an amazing journey. It always is an amazing journey, the ups and the downs and everything in between. So 100%. Yeah, super honored to be here, Matt.
Thank you, and super honored to have you. So for those that haven't had the beautiful pleasure of meeting yourself yet, share a little bit about who you are, what you're doing with yourself, and yeah, what you're up to these days.
Gosh, do you want the long version or the short version?
Start with the short one and then we'll get stuck into the long one.
Right, okay. I love talking as much as you.
Well, rest
I'll be fighting for the word. Matt, and everyone who's watching, I'm traveling location free. This is my lifestyle, going into taking the lifestyle route first. So I'm a permanent traveler. I actually base myself in Bali right now, and I'm someone who stands for love, freedom, and choice. And freedom is one of my number one values in life, and that's what I wanted to create a life of total freedom, and I wanted to be able to help other people do the same, to step into a fully expressed life of freedom, and also to start manifesting from flow. And I know we're going to talk about that, but those are really some of the things that I'm super, super, super passionate about.
Fantastic. Now, this is obviously been a bit of a journey and a process to get to this point, and it's actually something that I know a lot of people are either striving towards or really dreaming about, and just listening to you and chatting to you as well. Like, I've been pretty impressed and pretty excited about having someone that I can sort of follow that's really setting the pace and taking life by the balls and really traveling down that path and setting a really, really good example of that. But I'm sure that it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows all the way. So can you take us back a little bit to, a bit of your sort of your backstory as well, of what life was like growing up and what sort of veered you in the direction of doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, I'll try and keep it kind of semi-short as well. So I actually grew up in Finland. So I'm born and raised in Finland, and I moved to Australia when I was 19. And I'm Finnish. Actually, my first language is Swedish, and I have an Australian accent, and now I don't really live anywhere. I might be a little bit confused.
Yeah, that's okay.
So in my 20s, I felt like I was always feeling a little bit lost and out of place, because I actually had this conversation with someone yesterday, and I always felt out of place, like I didn't belong. Like I wasn't, like everyone else. There was something more to my life, but I didn't realize what it was. And I got on a path of, drugs, sex, alcohol, rock and roll, gosh, you name it, addictions, really, all sorts of addictions. And that, my life just started to move into the party scene, and I kind of still felt out of place, and suddenly ended up in a very interesting situation for 12 months of my life. And this happened about 6 years ago, where I found myself in a very abusive relationship, and I ended up homeless. I ended up so financially broke that I couldn't pay my rent. And I was addicted to ice at the time. And then I thought things couldn't get any worse, I lost my dad as well in that 12 months. So it was a 12 months of turmoil, with eating disorders. Like it's like this list of never-ending list of what actually happened in that year. But I'm deeply grateful for that, because that was the point where everything changed for me. And that was the time where I really, figured out that my pain is actually my power. And it is for all of us, if we choose to learn and see pain as wisdom and power, and that platform where we can launch ourselves into a whole new reality. So everything changed for me. And I've been on this, conscious path per se, for about 5 years now, 5.5 years now. So
that is the short version of it. And we can.
I've got more. Don't worry, I've got more.
I bet you do. Can you sort of paint more of a picture for those that are listening as well, of really the mentality of where you were at back then, sort of pre your father's death, and what sort of spiraled you into that, what maybe you were searching for, or what you felt back then that you didn't have in life that you're trying to fill, and what got you into that space to start with?
Yeah, really great question. And I guess, those feelings of feeling like I don't belong, and no one understands me. I felt really lost, and reality was that I was actually lost within myself, not within my life, because reality is that we create everything from within. But I didn't know these things back then. So I was very disconnected from myself. I had no idea who I was, and I was just trying to fit in as well. And of course, programming, society takes a toll on us. And most of the time when we follow the programming and the system, we're not actually honoring our truth. We're here for a unique reason, for a purpose. And when we're not honoring that, we can feel really lost. So I was very disconnected from my own spirit, my own purpose, and what I was here to do in the world. And I was just trying to conform, really, trying to be accepted and to fit in. And so I was doing what other people were doing, partying, all these things that we end up doing quite often. And I realized that it was just ended up being a downward spiral. And it got so bad that the mentality and the mindset that I had in that particular 12 months was, I was caught up in the victim, and constantly blaming all of the external reality, everything, all the people around me, blaming my abusive relationship and all the rest of it. So very much externally projecting back at life, which is all the things that are showing up within us. Didn't know that at the time. And, it got to a point where I just didn't care if I was here or not. And, when we get to that stage, I know probably a lot of people can relate to that, where we're so caught up in our pain. It's not just pain, but it's actually suffering. And we feel like there's no way out. We can't actually see the light. And I've definitely been in that place, and it's not a nice place to be in. But I'm grateful to have been to that place, because I now understand, number one, what other people go through. And I was also able to turn that pain and suffering into the biggest blessing I've ever experienced.
Absolutely.
So Yeah.
It's interesting that you bring up that lack of purpose as well, and how when we're in that space, like there really is that sort of helplessness and hopelessness about our situation, because we're looking outside of ourselves and blaming everything externally and playing that victim card. It is so, like we're powerless in those situations. We have no choice. We feel like there's no love, there's no freedom there, and we're sort of trapped like a mouse in a cage into our situation of life. It's full on. So walk me through the journey of really discovering what you feel is your purpose and your unique calling.
It all goosebumps. Every time I talk about this, I get goosebumps. It was really that 12 months of my life where, and before that, when I was walking around purposeless and, looking, what should I be doing in life? What am I even here for? But really the pain that I went through put me on the path of this purpose. So I actually, it started from a space of surrender. And as we talk about awakening there could be a whole nother live stream for another time, but it happens differently for all of us. Yeah. And we can really be shaken. Something really eventful and dramatic can happen in your life that will shake you and literally put you on another path. And I truly feel like my awakening was a very shocking wake the F up. and it happened really, really quickly. So for some people, you'll get insights, you'll get different feelings, you start to see the different in a different way. But I felt like I'd been taken up to heavens and thrown back down with a different soul and a whole different outlook on life. So for me, it happened very quickly. And moving through the process of, okay, I was on that path and all of a sudden I'm on a different path. Well, the people around me didn't really understand who I was. All of a sudden, I was gone from negative victim to, I'm loving my life. What is this?
Yeah, wow.
So it happened very, very quickly for me. And it was a lonely journey. And just through those, I started to, find and seek connection within myself and started to really remember who I am. It's not about finding ourselves, even though we say in this current paradigm that we're looking for ourselves. But it's really about shedding layers of who we are not, shedding the programming of who we've actually told to be. So once you start to eliminate that, all the stuff that's, muddling your connection with yourself, you then start to connect deeper within your own purpose and your own, what you're feeling. And I just started to navigate through life, and it led me to the right courses, the right coaches, the right mentors. So immerse myself into the personal development.
Before that stage, like I think it's a massive point to touch on, where that level of loneliness, when we do first really sort of awaken into a new state of being, which is essentially just looking at the world in a completely new way that we haven't looked at it before, from whatever it was that was the catalyst to bring that about. But as soon as we do shift in any sort of directions and change our identity in some ways, or whatever path we're going to take, it's almost like the first test of that to see if we're really true to this new path is how willing are you to walk this path on your own without the support and guidance of the people around you that you're used to having. And it is really fucking lonely to start with. And it's like you've got no one to talk to. The people are talking double Dutch, you're speaking double Dutch to them. And until you really commit and follow that through, people do sort of organically fall away and people organically sort of come into our lives. But as that epic process beforehand of real loneliness and feeling like you're the only one on the planet that speaks his language, would you subscribe to that? And can you add to that from your experiences through that process as well?
Yeah, 100%. It's exactly what you described. I think a lot of people can relate to this when we choose a different path and we start to awaken to ourselves and what life is really about. It's that lonely journey of, is this really what I am now headed? Like, I had all these amazing friends, and we actually create attachment to people, attachment to family members, attachment to old circles of friends. But all of a sudden there's this, but I'm not resonating with those people anymore. And we think that that's actually a bad thing. And we create our own right and wrong, really. But it's not actually a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it's something to understand and to be aware of, that, when we embark on a different path, it's about finding our feet, but to stay true to yourself and your path and what's actually where you're headed, because the right people will show up. You're vibrationally going to align with the right people 100%.
Definitely. And also, when you do shift your vibration, those ones that do organically fall away, people want to get rid of negative people in their lives, or trying to sort of shift the environments. It's like when you start shifting your own frequency, your own vibrations, and playing a different game, it's just organic. It just happens naturally. They just sort of fall away. They go on their own path. It's not about actively seeking out to eliminate people, which is what I used to think of, like, I'm going to have to get rid of these people in my life, but it's not like that at all. It's a really beautiful process, really.
It happens organically. So we don't really need to worry about it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So love, freedom, and choice. Let's get stuck in. Elaborate. Share what your definitions of those words mean to you, and dig deep into it.
This is something I stand for so strongly in my life, and as I've connected deeper into my own purpose and what I'm really here to do, what I really stand for, and I've really narrowed it down to love, freedom, and choice. So love, unconditional love. Well, number one, there's love is love, of course. Number one is self-love. Everything starts from self, and our world, our external world, is going to be always a reflection of
Dogs.
Oh. They love love. The dogs love. It's like, I concur. So, what has really created that big change in my life was the journey within myself, learning to really love and honor myself to whole new levels, which even led me onto a path of marrying myself a couple of years ago.
So marrying yourself?
Not officially. Yeah.
I want to marry myself.
You didn't know?
That's so cool. Tell me about this. How did you do this? What happened?
I'll hook you up. It actually went viral globally last year. My ceremony.
Why don't I know about this?
Or the story. You're like, what is going on? You've been living under a rock, Matt. You've been doing too many interviews.
You just start watching other people's stuff instead of making stuff.
So it's it's something that I chose to do for myself. It was like a very private ceremony. You know how we do full moon rituals, we'll do morning rituals, ritual is life, really. I live my life in ritual, and it was just something I did a couple of years ago on Valentine's Day, where I'm like, what's this conditioning about marriage? Well, why couldn't I marry myself and actually just make vows and commitments and choose to honor myself? So I did a little process. And
did you accept the proposal first? That was...
Absolutely.
Did you propose to yourself?
Well, it was already like, we're in this together. We already knew.
Presumptive, but fair enough.
So that put me on the intention was to, embark on a more conscious, into a more conscious relationship with myself. And that was really the starting point of learning to love myself on deeper levels. And self-love is not just about saying a couple of, beautiful affirmations and good words in the mirror. It's about actually honoring your boundaries, honoring your truth, understanding who you are, and honoring everything that's actually going on in your life.
Can you elaborate?
Boundaries.
With a little bit more specificity around that, around those key points around what that means to love yourself and the practice of self-love, because I know that it's sometimes caught up with just being sort of this airy-fairy throwaway statement, but and it's also taken a lot of different ways, but through your journey, can you sort of explain the processes and the parts and the moving bits to it, and what that means to you, to give people an example of what it's really like?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So, as you said, it's this airy-fairy perception of, I've got to go and get pampered to love myself, get my hair done, get a massage. Yes, it's part of it, but it's it's this much, right? What it really means on deeper levels is to take responsibility for, number one, for who you are and for how you're showing up in this world, and to honor what is actually moving through you, because we all have that inner knowing, we all have an inner feeling, And it's about saying yes to only things that align with you, and saying no to things that you want to say no to. Because quite often, I mean, a lot of people can probably relate, we end up in this people-pleasing role, and we're constantly, you know, saying yes to things we want to say no to. And that's a huge part of self-love, of honoring self. And to not have to justify, just go, no, I don't actually want to do that. That doesn't align for me. And to set really healthy boundaries, because the more that we continue to evolve and continue to play a bigger game, the more boundaries that we need to set, and healthy boundaries of what you tolerate and what you accept in your life. And this is all part of self-love.
Do you remember some of the first things that you really were challenged by when going down this path? And are there any examples that you remember actually going, all right, I'm going to say no to this, but it's against my inner core of what I'm so used to doing, but I know that this is what I need to do for me. Like, is there some examples of challenges like that you remember going through when you first went through this?
I know there were plenty. And I think it's a journey that still continues to come up, and it's a never ending thing. Like, things are going to show up. It's like, hey, are you going to honor yourself, or are you going to, you know, it's like, what's the reason or purpose behind this thing? So I think it's a never ending process. And it's not going to go away. Like that, you know, when we become conscious within ourselves, it's just that constant process of checking in. Is this in alignment with me? You know, am I saying, and if I'm saying yes, what am I saying yes from? Is it because it actually aligns, or am I saying yes because I think I should?
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of practices and preachings about getting out of the head and into the heart, and really getting in touch with our intuition, our gut and our body, and really feeling our way through life, as opposed to using our thoughts and our mind, which is often like diluted or impeded on. But is there any specific practices that you've really found have helped you just quieten down the mind chatter and really feel into your intuition to guide you through that process?
Yeah, I love sitting in meditation, and not just meditation, because we can easily just drift off with our thoughts again, but really the embodiment piece. So really being present with my body. Like, sometimes I actually just sit and hold myself, just touch and hold myself. I connect to myself through journaling a lot. And it's just my vehicle of, you know, what's actually going on inside of me, and I'm just getting everything out in that way. Breath work is another way I feel very, very connected.
So breath work or breath work?
But what I really
I like them both.
Breath work. Like, I'm sure you do.
Breath work. Okay.
Oh, you're funny. Breath work, yeah. Because breath is life source, and for just, you know, very, very brief example, if we're feeling anxiety, what's the fastest way to come back to the presence and back to self? It's the breath.
Yes, so true.
Through your breath. So very powerful.
Yes, I think it was who was I listening to? I don't know if I can know, but I remember someone speaking about, like, the soldiers in the army, in order to maintain their composure in the middle of battle, it's all about the breath, is really compose in and out breaths, and just being able to compose just regulate their whole systems, their circulatory systems, their emotional, their mental capacity. All of it is just all done through the breath. And even on these shows, when I get like flustered, or if I'm getting nervous, bring it back to the breath. And it's just, it is such a tangible tool, which seems too easy almost to, like, too good to be true, but it's so powerful.
Right. Exactly.
Have you done much Wim, or any Wim Hof, or listened to his talks at all?
I love him. Yeah, I actually went to Tony Robbins, and yeah, a lot was shared there, and he's an amazing man.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Epic.
I'm definitely planning on immersing myself more into his work.
Yeah, true. And it's just a lot of the things that were, I don't know, like hippy dippy sort of airy fairy type of concepts are now just being proven left, right, and center. They've got the statistics, they've got the data, they've got the mechanics to actually test so many things about how we are energetic beings and how we are governed by our life force through the breath and all these things. It's just like, you know, you wake up, you make sure you have sleep every day, you eat every day, you brush your teeth at the end of every day, and then you do these things that they're almost, well, they're not almost, they're no-brainers once you understand the implications of them, and really wanting to give ourselves the best capacity to be our best selves every single day. It's just no-brainers, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
So
freedom and choice.
yeah, so I guess you asked, yeah, I'm like, I'm with you. Freedom and choice. So just to pull it back, so not just self-love, but unconditional love. So what I want to add to this as well is something that I stand for really strongly in terms of love, is to always lead with love. And doesn't matter what happens, what event shows up in your life, how do you choose to respond? Are you actually reacting? And to really ask, how would love respond? How can you actually lead with love in every single moment? Every single conflict, every single challenging situation, can you still lead with love?
Yeah.
And take responsibility for your own inner trigger, whatever's happening inside of you.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's what I wanted to add there. So freedom.
Well, with that, can I
freedom
as
is
well with that? Because one thing that has really resonated with me and blew my mind when I started sort of touching on and being introduced to non-duality and the unity of all of us and the interconnectedness of everything, is that self, when I think of self-love and I hear the word self, I don't identify myself as Matthew Banks, this being this thing as the self anymore. It is, the self is one and is basically all things. And so to practice self-love, like you said, is how do we approach every situation? Well, I identify every situation as the self, as myself. And so if there's any situation or personal or experience that I'm not approaching with that love and gratitude and compassion and understanding and acceptance, then and I'm approaching it with discord or hate or anger or whatever, then that's essentially how I'm approaching myself and how I'm speaking to myself in those moments. And so it is a holistic approach to everything, and it's fucking pretty epic. It's amazing space to be in, and it's giving me tingles now just thinking about it as well. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yes, we're living ourselves. Every experience, we're actually living ourselves. It's a really fascinating concept.
Yeah. It's full on. I'm still figuring out how to speak on it, how to communicate it, how to shift in between the duality and non-duality within everyday life, which is an exciting sort of practice to go through, and fucking challenging as well at the same time, but simple at the same time. So freedom, take us through that. What is freedom to you?
Freedom is one of my highest values, my core values in life, and that's, of course, we always continue to make decisions and choices based on our values. And freedom is something that's very, very important to me, and it's something that I'll continue to stand for. So when I speak of freedom, I'm talking freedom income, freedom lifestyle, freedom to choose, freedom to be fully expressed in yourself. And that's a huge, huge piece, because we're so caught up in this, we're fearing of judgment from others, of, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to come across the wrong way, but there's nothing more liberating when you can just find the courage to step into the freedom of a fully expressed self and a fully expressed life. So because that's something that I stand for so strongly, of course, I live my life that way. Yeah. So, people would know who've been following me that I express completely openly of what I'm moving through and what's happening in my life. And of course, like, that flows into my lifestyle. The way that I live my life is, I'm completely location free, and I build business online, generate income online. That gives me the freedom to be anywhere in the world. So, that's something that I'm passionate about myself, and I love helping others doing the same.
It just puts you into a beautiful position where you do, like, look after yourself first. It's like selfishly unselfish, where you look after yourself first and you put yourself into a position where you can help people, you can think of other people, you can pull people up from where they are as well. And it's pretty phenomenal. It's an amazing space to be in.
Exactly.
How long ago do you feel that you achieved that, or do you feel like you've achieved it completely
I feel like I have. You know, there's been something that I've been moving through. Matt, it's 333 on April 3. I just had to say that. That's what it says on my computer screen. We had this conversation about the threes. I'm like, this is funny.
True
This
that.
is funny. I feel that I have. I know that there's always another level to go, you know, to explore. But I feel that I've definitely reached this point of I'm not fearing judgment anymore. I went through recently a very recent experience where I had a little bit of fear of judgment, but I instantly, when that shows up, I work through it. And yeah, I'm just so liberated within myself, and I'm free within myself to express fully who I am, express what I stand for, and just to be me. And then that leads into the choice, the freedom of choice, that we all have a choice. Yes, we can set these certain paths and commitments and so forth, but at any given moment, we still have a choice to choose differently.
100%.
You know, it's okay to change your mind, and you always have a choice to choose how you want to live your life, who you allow into your space, who you end up having conversations with. Like, it really leads into every area of your life.
This is a big one, choice. This is like a fucking game changer. It's a fundamental, a foundational sort of mindset. But like I said before as well, it's like a moment-to-moment challenge and practice as well. But man, I think the first time for me that it really hit and sunk in was about maybe 10 years ago, when someone did the above and below the line. 100% responsibility, accountability, ownership above the line, below the line, living blame, shame, justifying, giving away your power. And for some reason, the way it was just said to me that day, just the penny dropped, and actually recognizing that, holy shit, even if things aren't my fault, if I just approach everything like everything is my choice, I choose every single thing, it creates such a massive power within me that I've got every option then to choose something new or to create a different solution or a different outcome. Yeah, but
100%.
That's my,
and your entire reality.
yeah, that's my sort of introduction to it. But to walk me through yours and what really shifted, or what was the catalyst for you that really helped you realize that it is all your choice?
Yeah, I guess it all really started when I was conforming, and I was, you know, following the rules and doing what I think I had to do. And as I then, you know, started to awaken more to myself, to my life, and to my spirit, really, I started to realize that, hang on, I don't have to go and do a 9-to-5 job. I don't have to go and do that just because someone said I'm good at it. I don't have to go and, you know, do what people say I should be doing. I have a choice of how I want to live my life. So I started really with the bigger picture of, hey, hang on a minute. Well, if I could choose, how would I live my life? And then there's this, you know, freedom life that got born within me, and I started taking action there. Now it leads into the little, like exactly like what you expressed before. Your whole reality, your entire day is based off tiny little choices that you're making every single day. Even standing up from your chair, I choose to stand up from my chair right now in this moment. It's a choice, right? And that leads to an action. So everything is made up of our choices. Everything, our whole reality.
And I love that you said, like you asked a question, like if this was my choice, because I think so often we believe the thoughts that are going through our mind. We believe that we are our thoughts, but until we recognize that, I think that like when we understand that we do have the choice to at least ask different questions or at least challenge our own thought processes as well, that's when we start building a bit of evidence of, oh, holy fuck, I've been thinking that thing, but maybe I don't need to think that thing anymore. If that's what I've been getting, and I ask this different question, if I ask high quality questions than the statements I've been believing, I'm going to come up with high quality answers. I'm going to take different results. I'm going to get different actions. It's just the phone effect, and it's so fucking powerful, so powerful. So choice, choice. What are some of the impacts that? I mean, it's endless, but what's some of the impacts that have come about because of your mindset going from victim mentality to one of basically total responsibility and understanding that everything's your choice?
the biggest shift that has happened has been from me feeling really, really stuck, and feeling unfulfilled, feeling like nothing's working in my life, to actually waking up in this beautiful paradise that I've created, waking up fulfilled within myself, just fully expressed this, go pinching myself. Is this really my life? You know, but you know, it didn't happen overnight. There has been every single day, there's been something to work through. And it's a journey, and doesn't matter how much inner work or how conscious you become, how many personal development programs you do, there's always going to be more stuff to work through. It's a journey.
What?
It's a journey.
Are you telling me that when you live in the dream, you're still getting challenged every day?
Yes.
What? I thought it all goes away.
Yes. Sorry to break the news. Sorry to break the news to you, but it doesn't. The power lies within how we're navigating through that. And once again, it's the connection, the awareness we have within ourselves, how we got the right tools to move through that.
All right. So
because a little
finish.
a little challenging moment. See, I told you I love talking.
I love it more.
Don't fight me for this. A little challenging moment that we can see as, okay, that triggered something within me. That could actually just be a 2-minute moment, right? Whereas previously, the old version of Linda used to triggered, create this drama, and I used to live in that drama for months.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really the difference.
So we are in flow right now. Like this, that's exactly the question I was going to ask. Right? What's the difference between you back then and something happening, and the way you approach challenges now, when they come about, and the mindset's just fucking 360 degrees different.
Well, 180.
No, 360.
Because otherwise you're like, but then you spin.
Yeah, whatever.
Go on.
So
anyway,
it's craziness, because we get so bogged down by those challenges. We used to get bogged down by challenges. They used to be all consuming, all just take over life, take over our entire thought patterns, our own mentality. Stay up at nights, bloody hating on people, hating on life, hating on things, trying to figure out what was right, what was wrong with everything else other than ourselves. Where now it's just like, oh, this thing again. Hello, friend. Challenge accepted.
Can I share a real funny thing that
Please.
I did the other day, which relates to this completely? So when we're having these, it's about the self-awareness piece, right? So when we notice things going on, for example, in our mind, and I'll share a little experience. I was riding on my scooter a couple of days ago here in Bali, and I noticed myself having just horrible thoughts, just fear and doubt and just negative. And I'm like trying to shake my head on the scooter going, go away, I don't because I choose to not think these,
Yes, I do the same.
these thoughts. And I actually ended up stopping my scooter and just shook my body. I'm like, I'm so aware, because we are so powerful, such powerful creators, that I literally took action in that moment, because there was some kind of patterning that was going on in my mind, but I took responsibility and changed it. And we can be so unaware, and we're still going to have negative thoughts. The mind is still going to be there. The ego is still going to be there. But do we have the self-awareness, and do we take responsibility for changing our state?
Fuck yeah.
Before it leads to something else.
Yeah, so true. I did acting school when I first finished high school. And one of the things we did after we like embodied a character and we got out of the scene, we'd like shake the character off like that. And I've sort of done the same thing. Like I remember driving a lot, like this is when I think a lot, and then fucked up stuff would come into my mind, like, oh, no, go away, not that one.
Yeah. It's like,
but it's also common sense stuff. Like we've got over 60,000 thoughts every single day flowing in and out of our mind. 80 or 90% of those are old thoughts we've thought in the past, and about 80% of them are influenced by outside sources as well. So fuck all of our actual thoughts that flow in and out of our minds on a daily basis. Positive, original thoughts come up with it by ourselves. It's all these other influences that have been sort of doing it, and just being aware of that in itself just gives you so much permission. And I remember someone saying to me, Matt, you can tell yourself to shut the fuck up and not believe what you think sometimes. And that was an epiphany for me. Like, oh, I don't have to believe it all. No shit. Well, all right, cool. I didn't know that. Now I do. Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Well, see, half the times it's not even yours. The thoughts are not even yours. Because, you know, if you can sometimes catch yourself going, hang on a minute, why am I thinking that? That's not you. It's your mind dimension. It's actually, because everything is energy, even your thoughts are energy. So you can pick up other people's thought patterns all of a sudden. And when you're conscious to your thoughts, and you can actually start to pick yourself up going, why was I, see, I'm even like, I have conversations in my mind. I always like,
what?
You know, if you observe me, I'm like, oh.
I didn't even need you to have a conversation. So true though, and that's self-awareness, right? Like that's being self-aware. That's being conscious, the consciously aware human being walking through life, as opposed to an unconscious human being being like thrown around from life, being just knocked about by the external circumstances and not taking that responsibility, creating those choices or understanding that it's all our choice anyway. Powerful. Powerful. So what do you do to help people? Like you've obviously gone through a lot of your own turmoil and challenges, right? And really setting a great example to turn those diamonds, that rough into diamonds. But what are you doing in amongst the public and with people around you that is sort of helping them on their journey to figure this out and get to that same space of freedom, choice, and love?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So number one is I choose to show up in a way where I'm leading by example. I actually practice what I preach, and I stand in my truth. I walk my
as the genie said in Aladdin, be yourself.
Yes. And of course, you know, from that space and the way that I then serve people and what I do is that I help people step into a fully expressed life of freedom in many, of course, that goes into different dimensions of life. And I also help people manifest from flow. Let's
talk about this for a little bit. Since that was the title.
I know, it was actually a topic. This is so funny.
This is it though, right? Actually, you know what? It's funny / coincidence if you believe in coincidences and not universal laws, but it's perfect, right? I was thinking maybe yesterday or the day before about doing a bit of a like a live, like I don't know, just some live videos and showing people what flow state manifestation actually looks like, and actually starting from the start and completely manifesting something, just to show them a working example. Because a lot of people talk it and a lot of people sort of preach it, but then and then you see a lot of people that have manifested something. It's like, yeah, I manifested it, but it's like, now, hang on a minute, you saying that now, motherfucker? What? Like